Nowadays, science has become so complex that you would need thousands of pages if you wanted to explain it in writing. But an artist can maybe simplify it, make that one decisive image and say, this is what it's all about.
So I don't know if I can tell you what it's about yet, but I can tell you it's fundamentally a lot of fun. Synthetic biology, from my point of view, and metabolism specifically, is an incredibly abstract field of science, right? We deduct everything we know about life from tiny little bands on gels, and from drawings that we've made, and from LC-MS data, and none of these things are things we can actually see or experience. So the new direction we're going with Sergio and Ottavio is really exciting because it's discussing new ways to experience the world in which we're trying to discover new things, and also the world we're trying to manipulate and interact with and to understand better. It's very nice to be sitting with someone who's focused and interested and wants to get something new out of your work, and to work with them in that process of sort of spurring each other on.
When you step out of your comfort zone, it's more common to fail. But this failure sometimes leads to serendipities. Ideally, it will be the dream will be a change in the curricula, as Professor Ingeborg Reich here already has done in Vienna. But here in Germany it's slowly changing, and I think KLAS is kind of a seed that shows the potentiality. I don't see difference between disciplines.
It's always exciting to meet and encounter great thinkers, people who are curious, who want to explore the world we are living in. And I especially like to approach the themes from different perspectives. So I like to meet people and talk about it.
As a non-artist, it's fascinating to see a piece of art, but I think it's more interesting to learn about the background of it and how it came about. The highlight of having the artists in the lab is not necessarily them doing the science, because what we show them is on an introductory basic level. What I found more interesting is when we sat and had coffee afterwards and we start talking about the topics and what we're doing, and then maybe we expand the conversation to different scientific topics, also not including synthetic biology, and that was kind of fun. Something that concerns me is that I hope, or at least I'm worried, that people might have a misconception about synthetic biology. Many of the people that I speak to say things like, "Ooh, is it something dangerous? Are you creating life?" These kind of like worries that the non-scientific people from the public have.
Definitely, science meet at an important point, curiosity. They are curious about the world we live in and the world which is around us, and they are interested in transformations. Both are interested in transformations of the world, to turn the world into something better, to change the world for its own advantage.
And therefore there is a need for artists and scientists to work together, because it's a question of mediality, of materiality, and of apparatuses. We live in a world where increasingly complex projects, complex problems occur. We are living in a world in which micro phenomena have macro impacts, but we also live in a kind of period of over-specialization and a multitude of over-specialized idiots that do not talk anymore to each other.
I think both science and art deal with knowledge and tries to establish several connections between diverse fields. I think both fields require a lot of imagination and creativity, and I think it's very interesting when you have scientists and artists working together, so they can develop new techniques and new ways of thinking and discovering. I work mainly with sound and light installations, and I have been using scientific knowledge to produce artworks such as artificial intelligence and neuroscience, and now I have been doing research with synthetic biology.
The whole workshop was a bit built around the work that is being carried out between the artists and the scientists. So all the speakers that we reached out to were selected on the basis of the collaboration between the artists and the scientists, and they have agreed to come and speak about their work and give added value and meaning to this collaboration. So it can be from a historical perspective, from a philosophical perspective, from a more scientific. What is interdisciplinarity? What are we looking at when we look at arts and science? What we see is that KLAS becomes a model of an artist in residency program within a scientific institution. Now it's being done within 2 institutes, Colloids and Interfaces and Plant Physiology here. The idea would be for this class to change every year to the Albert Einstein Institute, to the Empirical Aesthetic Institute, and every year it's a different topic, and it grows a community of artists that become experts in a certain field, and scientists that become more and more aware of the work that artists do and how this can actually broaden their horizons and help within their own work.
We've been talking with innovators and investigators using documentary films as a way to register their processes on investigation and on who is behind those innovations. Some of the teams have used these sort of videos to get financement and funding to keep researching.